you not know? Do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know? Do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much. It brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow. And no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger. No one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness. And no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know it's too much. It brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy. You are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy. You are holding my hand. She said, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And so all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well.
Hello and welcome to the first online worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart. My name is Amy DeBeck. It is my privilege and honor to serve the fine people of UUFE. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'd like to begin with our mission statement. UUFE is a welcoming community, encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual, spiritual, and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. Fellowship life is what we would normally do, which is the time for announcements. I have a little bit of a dark sense of humor, and I think it's really funny to have announcements in the middle of a crisis. But I put the funny part away, and I do have some real announcements. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, advises us to stay in our homes. And in Indiana, there are travel restrictions in certain areas. All of these things keep changing, and we need to find the tried and true source for our news and then listen to it. Dwight Fish and Oksana Warbiansky found a reading that they really love, and they sent it to me in lots of different formats until finally I said, I think that you should tape each other reading it, and we'll use it as a chalice lighting. So that's what we're going to do. Also from their home, Maeve King, our pianist, is on the job. She will be offering several pieces of music for the service from her home. And I hope that you all will keep using the new or old connections of the phone tree. If anybody needs to be taken off of it or added to it, please let me know. It's a work in progress, but it's going really well. This is the gong that UUFE gave Kevin for ordination, and he's letting me use it for our gathering together. We ring the gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are with us now. And once for those who will come after us and build on the dream. And now for that chalice lighting, as promised.
Today's chalice reading is from Kitty O'Meara.
And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed.
This is the time in our service when we remember that we are a covenantal religion. We come together with a covenant rather than being bound by a creed. Here are the words to our covenant if you would like to recite it with us. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. The next piece of music that Maeve is going to play is a hymn from the Teal hymnal called Come and Go With Me. And if you know the words, sing along at home. I have not figured out yet how to put the words out there. So enjoy it, sing along with it if you'd like. For those of you who are really interested, you can pull out your smartphones and type in hymn number 1018 UUA, and maybe the words will come up. In any case, I hope that you enjoy this next piece. During times when we worship face to face, we usually pass the offering bowl. And I want to say a few words about the offering. During this time of uncertainty, when the stock market is being volatile, when we do not know whose jobs will keep paying them and whose will not, when we do not know what this COVID-19 isolation will bring, we're all being rightfully cautious with our giving and our spending. UUFE and I, Reverend Amy, are well aware of this. Not only do we usually take up an offering every week, but we're also in the middle of our pledging season. This is the time when we make our budget for next year based on the promises of right now for next year. Your stewardship committee has been hard at work figuring out how to keep UUFE going financially, thriving even, and we will see some of their work in the coming days and weeks. This week, the first time I figured out how to do some kind of service for us, I have one message about the stewardship season and about our usual offering. We are working out the kinks for being able to donate online. When I say working out the kinks, there is nothing we can do that would make your information vulnerable to fraud, so don't worry about that. I mean, we're working it out on our end with our technology and our personnel. If you want to try out the new Square account, please do. An email got sent out to church members, or it's about to be sent out. We're working on putting it on the web page so that you can just click the button to donate. It's still a bit confusing, but I have absolute confidence that we're going to work it out. Money received today, if you go to the website, or if we have figured out how to get that donate button working, any money received today will go to the UUFE Sustainability Fund or to your pledge if you indicate that. We'll figure this all out together, and while you think about responsible stewardship in your home and for your church community, here is an offertory from Maeve. During many of the weeks that UUFE gather together, we share our joys and our sorrows, our memories and our milestones. Maybe one of the things that grieves us the most is not being able to get together and do that. So here's what I want to say to you about that time until we figure out, is there a way to do this online? Is there a way to do this in small groups? We are going to use all of those check-ins from our phone tree to fill the gaps left by not being able to share our joys and sorrows in person up front in front of the congregation. If you have something that you want or need to share, because sometimes you do, please share it with somebody. Tell the person on your phone tree, give me a call, tell somebody what your joy, your sorrow, your memory, or your milestone is. If you need to keep it in your heart, you're always welcome to do that. As we're developing these online traditions, you might want to have things around you so that when we do joys and sorrows, you have a pebble to drop in the water or you have a candle to light. Until you decide how you would like your at-home worship life to be, I hope that you'll enjoy this next video. It was put together by the Orange Coast Community Choir out in California, and it's our hymn, Spirit of Life.
Of compassion,
Many of us wear multiple hats, prioritizing them and changing them as necessary. For instance, I'm a minister and a mom, a wife, a sibling. At any time, due to emergent needs, one of these identities might rise to the surface and I have to change hats. But usually they're all kind of just up there buzzing around. What are your identities? How do they gain your notice? Is it by circumstance or from a list you made wherein you allotted time for attention to one or the other? Or is it some other method? Having to make decisions in the midst of a crisis is not the best way to make decisions. When we received notice about staying home, and I began to process what that would mean, all of my identities collided. How would I be there for UUFE if we cannot gather? Plus, I still want all of my quiet me time to read and pray and plan and think about my ministry. And then there's the family identity. I want my family members to feel loved and not scared. I want them to feel loved by me and not scared of me. And I want us to all like each other. Not to say that I am grateful for COVID-19. I will never say that. I also keep thinking that the silver lining from this disaster could be plentiful if we're able to turn to the hardships with gratitude. Slowing down could be a blessing. I mean, I like to spend time with my family, so maybe silver linings are possible. Oh, but then as quickly as I straightened out all of these hats and started to feel like I can do this, I realized that we're going to be in for some real juggling. And the hits started to come, and they just keep coming. What about the school kids who depend on being at school for breakfast and lunch? What about the kids being home with a parent, or even both parents, still having a job to do outside of the home? What are single parents doing, even aside from the e-learning? And our elders, what if we cannot visit them? And how can we get the point across to people who have lived through hard times that all of this isolation is for their protection? Well, then I started to think about the least of these. How will people who live in violent or abusive homes make it through the isolation? How about people who are homeless or addicted? It became evident to me early on that the minister hat was going to be on all the time. Just acknowledging this was clarifying, and it's always evolving. The second thing that became quickly evident is that mistakes would get made. Mistakes in Family Relationship Intensive 101, in interchurch memos, and mistakes would get made knowing that each time we're going to have to just move on. We're going to have to leave perfectionism behind, far behind. For instance, in those first few days, March 12th, 13th, and 14th, Kevin and I spent a lot of time training ourselves for online worship. Oh my goodness, the pages we poured over. Lots of time collaborating with minister friends and signing up for Zoom and trying to get proficient. And I was very sick that whole time. It just seemed like too much. After the weekend passed and my head cleared a little, it hit me. It doesn't matter how well Kevin and I do with our newfound tech skills if folks don't know how to use all of these alien ideas like Zoom and YouTube and Facebook Live. So I had a complete switch of energy learning how to create a phone tree. I was reminded about the internship I did in Reston, Virginia with Dennis Daniels. Whenever I would say, what do you think I should do here? He would ask me, what do the people need? Give them what they need. Well, I know we need to stay connected, but I'm still discerning how to do that best. The first week, I kept thinking, it was like a fugue this whole week. Should I keep pushing for us to get really adept at being together online, or should we just take a breath and triage, checking in by phone with everybody? You know that I decided phone tree. But it reminded me of a book I read a while ago by Mary Pfeiffer. The book is called Another Country. In it, she posits that growing old in the U.S. is like waking up in a foreign place, another country. The lifestyles, the pace, everything seems to have gone away and been replaced with foreign ideas and unfamiliar sounds. When we visit another country, the customs will be different and the scenery or terrain is not ours, but the biggest confusion is often the language. Are any of you multilingual? I'm not. Or if you're not exactly fluent, maybe you recall learning another language. I do. Typically, we can infer a lot by the facial expression of the speaker, or maybe through hand motions or body language. I remember learning Spanish and finding out that it's not always a close match between Spanish and English. Embarazada does not mean embarrassed, it means pregnant. The actual vocabulary words can be studied on the page, but the other elements of learning are easier with the help of human interaction. So imagine if you're trying to learn another language without any human interaction. The language I'm talking about is learning how to use the computer stuff. Waking up to COVID-19 restrictions on leaving the house makes us all feel like we woke up in another country. Not go to church on Sunday? Not go to the concert that I already have tickets for? What about the rites of passage being canceled? No graduation? Really? Postponed weddings? We all feel like we woke up in some alternative reality. But the isolation is hitting us differently, and that's why the book from Mary Pfeiffer came to mind. For those of us who are not very skilled or experienced with being online, and then people start talking about doing everything by computer or smartphone, well, that just makes a lot of us feel further isolated. This falls somewhat across age divides, but not always. It's also economic, and it can be life choice. Many people of any age consciously decide to be more present to their surroundings by intentionally having not become tech savvy. To decide suddenly to incorporate this new element into life in the middle of a crisis, it's simply too much for a lot of people. It feels less like waking up in another country and more like an invasion by another country. So I've spent a lot of time this week deciding which seeds to plant. I keep looking out my window and thinking, I think I'll plant my garden in my off time. And you know, I like to aim for mixtures of allegories that go with finding the three sisters, beans, corn, and squash, that all nurture each other. When I'm looking for some kind of process by which to make a hard choice, I'll think there's those three sisters, beans, corn, and squash. They all need each other. Well, I've tried to use that as I think through how we can be together, and I'm not sure I've come up with the right mix yet, but here's what I think. I could either train everybody, including myself with a lot of help, how to do online worship, and we could keep approximating our usual life. Or I could give that up, tell everyone to just watch other churches do theirs, and I could spend my time calling people directly and then carry most of the care and information alone, because after all, I am a full-time on-duty minister. I don't think either of those work, though. In trying to go for that three sister image, I got to go for the middle plan. The middle plan is to learn a little bit more than I already know about online communication, and as I learn it, share it with people as they are comfortable to learn. Kevin, Henry, and I have been on the phone with quite a few of you this week. More and more of us are getting comfortable with Zoom calls. And the phone tree is a much more realistic way for all of us to be in touch right now while we're stressed out. We'll jump into Zoom as we acquire the time and stop being stressed. Let's make sure we're okay. Let's assess our living situations. Let's use our telephones. As for worship, we'll figure out how to be interactive soon. But my question for you is, what are you making decisions about? I've told you all of the decisions I've had to think about. How are you deciding what to do about family you can't visit? How are you deciding how to handle the canceled plans? What is your choice of attitude toward all of this uncertainty? Here's a poem that I've already read online once, but it's worth repeating. Lynn Unger suggests that we make decisions about how to treat this time outside of regular time. It's called pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Centered down. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Let's reflect for a moment on that last stanza. Promise this world your love. Not the world we had before COVID-19, and not the world we're holding our breath waiting for after COVID-19. Promise this world your love. This world, the one we are in isolation or quarantine. Like the wedding vows repeated in the poem, choose to love the unforeseen world, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. Love it however it needs to be loved. Some days will be a celebration, and some days will be annoyingly typical, and some days might lay us low. But however this strange time plays itself out, use the time to love this world. Love looks different at different times to different people. Sometimes I have to talk about hard truths with those I love. Sometimes love looks like having to carry the burden of something usually shared to give somebody a break. Love looks so different. It can look like refusing to visit. It can look like patiently walking somebody through activating a Facebook account. It might look like cooking meals together, or even trying to remember how to do algebra for your child's e-learning. Love is all around us, even if it is 6 feet apart, even if it's locked up with you 24/7. Promise this world your love. When you're doing that, be realistic, because this world deserves your love. So did the old world, and so will the new one. But friends, we have some opportunities to use this downtime well. When we're loving this world, we get to think about and decide, what does our church really mean to us? How will we heal a bruised and hurting world from inside our homes? So the writing that comes to me is our covenant. And I have a little bit of a different thing for us to do here. I'm going to hold the words up again, but I changed one word. I want you to read it with me. Love is the spirit of this home, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And so this is how we could be. Even if you are by yourself in this quarantine, be kind to everyone in the house, especially and even yourself. Service. What does it say? Service is its law. Well, when we figure out ways to be of service, we are going to step up. In our homes, we can step up and do what needs to be done. And when the community comes up with ways that we can help, we're going to be there. To dwell together in peace. Well, I hope that each of us dwells together in peace, whether it's with ourselves or our quarantine family. To seek the truth in love. Well, when we feel annoyed with each other, we're going to have to remember that one. We're going to have to remember that we seek the truth in love, not snark. And to help one another. I think that might be one of the things that we're best at, helping one another in small and large ways. Covenants are made in the best of times so that when things get rough, we have it to look back on and recall our best hopes and aspirations for the covenanted relationship. This pastor thinks that for anyone on quarantine with at least one other person, discussing the covenant is holy work. We could be on lockdown for a while. The lack of national planning is not in our favor. But love is in our favor. It is the spirit of this church, and it is the spirit of our homes. Let me know how it goes, covenanting with your family and friends. I think it might not be received well at first, but stick with it. And I want to share with you a benediction from Hosea Ballou. He said, "If we agree in love, there is no disagreement that can do us injury. But if we do not, no other agreement can do us any good. Let us endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace." Blessed be. Amen. Go in peace. Stay at home.